Hello and welcome to another edition of Deliver More, brought to you by the exceptional team here at Intech Services. Thank you so much for joining us today, for listening, for giving us feedback. We so do appreciate. And listen, this is our November edition. The leaves have fallen. The air is a bit more crisp here in the Northeast. And I'm thrilled to be joined by these two fine people today. I'd like to welcome the Director of Marketing here at Intech, Francesca Vavola. Francesca, how you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing very well. Very excited to talk to everybody today.
Outstanding. We appreciate you being here. And look, Spy Report, this was just given to me. I would like to introduce, joining us today is the newly appointed defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chris Lord. Chris, thanks for being here.
You got to make this quick. I got to run. We have a lot of work to do. Happy fall, though. Definitely feels like fall today. It's awesome.
It does feel like fall today. It's a lovely month. A lot of changes going on. So that's why we had to do this one. We wanted to kind of give you an update of what's going on here and now at Intech. So we're calling this one What's Going On? Marvin Gaye asked us that decades ago, and as a society, we just didn't have a good answer for him. But we're going to be able to tell you today and Deliver More what's going on here as the weather changes. It gets a little bit colder. Wolf, I was hoping you could start us out and let me know, along with the changes in the weather, what kind of changes occur here at Intech?
Probably the biggest thing for our customers is really the beginning of freeze season, which, for us with, shipping water-based products, we have to take extra care to make sure that they arrive in the condition that, where they're usable. Because if, they freeze or something should happen, the material really is not usable at that point. And we start this November 1st because we ship in the United States, all over the United States and Canada. Obviously some areas, get colder quicker than others. It's like 60 out here. So, some of our guys might say, I don't need that right now. So in the beginning of November, it's a little hit or miss. We actually start utilizing some different shipping vendors. Like we really utilize A Dewey in the Northeast because they have some temperature controlled vehicles that go up to the Northeast, and it's obviously colder up there. It's a lot, boxing. We have special boxes that fit our boxes and things like that. And then also our vendors trying to take more care of the shipments. But as we're in a, kind of somewhat of a logistical supply nightmare going on right now, which has created new challenges. And we just, talking to one of our primary shipping vendors, which would be UPS Freight, which is now T-Force, that, due to the lack of drivers and the whole workforce problem that's going on out there, they are using rail a lot to ship packages out to the West Coast. So, that was a little bit of an eye opener for us. We were like, oh my gosh. So, there's got to be really what we're begging and, with our customers, and we have these conversations, and I know they're probably tired of hearing about it.
Right.
Is trying to have forecasting conversations and look at your reorder points. Your reorder points, 2 years ago, probably aren't very valid right now because there is some supply chain constraints out there, and material may not be as readily available as it may have been in the past. And you don't want to leave yourself hanging out to dry, especially coming off a pandemic where maybe you weren't as busy last year as you were in 2019, or you could be in 2021. So
so you definitely don't want what material is available and is getting shipped to be shipped to you frozen. So we definitely try to communicate the freeze policies through email. I believe it was in last month's Intech Insider. We do mention it on social. So, and of course, our freeze policy is on our website. So there are a lot of places to find the details of that, but it's incumbent on our customers to make sure that they know when they need to use that and exactly the process to make sure that their stuff is getting to them protected and in usable condition.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And if you're phoning in an order, our customer service group's going to mention it to you as well. So, and we still have, customers that do that.
Sure, they will. Now I'm gonna ask you about that website that you brought up, Francesca. But thank you both. I was already going to ask you if you had any sort of advice for our customers as far as maintaining inventory. I appreciate you guys getting there and giving me something. How you guys doing? All right? You feeling good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Would you like an apple?
Is this a Goodwill Hunting scene?
Look, no, it's very fall. I had it here. It's lovely. But now, I mean, it's the limitations of Zoom, isn't it? As much as I'd like to give you my apple. Let's get back to the another update, if you will, for Intech. Francesca, tell me about the changes or the refurbishing, maybe that's the right word, for what's going on with the Intech website.
Sure. This was exciting to see come to life because it's something that Mike and I and Marissa have worked on a lot with our website development company behind the scenes. And basically, we redid our website, I think, 5 years ago, maybe, I want to say. And it was time. It's time to update it again because that's how websites go. You always need to keep them refreshed. So you're putting your best foot forward to make sure that you're taking advantage of every kind of usability or user friendliness changes that have come up. And also, of course, to make sure that we are putting our best foot forward and making it easier for people to find us. And once they find us, to order from us and actually learn from us using that website. So the website has been completely redesigned. It's been a really serious facelift to make it easier to navigate, to make that whole customer experience just a better one.
Sure.
And the biggest thing that we took away, actually, in the process, this was really cool. The team that we worked with looked at the site and essentially said, it looks like you're asking people to do too many things, in the sense that you want to teach them about what you have and you want them to buy what you have. And when people come to a website, they need to basically have more clear direction on what they're supposed to do. So the redesign, with where we have all of the shopping down on the left side, and it breaks down and you can get really granular with it just on one page right away, was designed with that intent. We know we want people to be using this website both for the marketplace and for Teflon. So we kind of made that the focus of, you can get your products very easily on our website. You can still learn about the products, but our primary focus is obviously for you to have access to order. And on top of that, we found a lot of redundancies. A lot of information was in multiple places, and we want to limit that, put it in one place so that you know where to find it. Fewer clicks, fewer broken links, get those out of there. It was really a team effort. I certainly loved working on it, and I love sharing that with people. And the best part about it is that we have a development team that we can trust, that we're still working with. So we are still improving the site. Even though the new one's launched, we're not done with it yet. We always want to make that better. So you'll see, as we improve it, little changes happening, nothing, and things that'll just make your life easier. It's more intuitive, or one less step. And of course, just sort of continuing to clean things up and streamline the process. But that's been really fun, really exciting to launch. And, I believe it's the only place that you can actually order everything that you need as a coder online. Our Intech marketplace has everything from, safety gear to paint rollers to spray booths, and everything you need. And so the idea behind that, of course, is that it makes it easier if you only have one invoice to pay for all of the things, rather than 10 invoices from 10 companies to pay for all the things you need. So we're just always looking at how we can deliver more, of course, to our customers. And the website is a big part of that.
Yeah, it's a unique marriage between a transactional website and one that's informative. We have both.
Yes.
So, and you want people to go out there, and they know when they go out there what they're able to do. And the redundancy thing, that can't be understated, Francesca. I mean, when Mike actually got back into looking at the website some more and having to make updates, he was like, oh my God, why are there like 5 different areas where I can go get TDSs? Because when he has to make an update, he's got to like go in and update
at
all
5
of them.
different places.
And he was like, holy cow. And the other thing I think, which is great, which, you know, as much as, yeah, listen, it's a website, but yeah, you want your website to have like a little bit of, I don't know, a wow factor, but like
flair.
We had the dark background and the rusty building. And it was kind of, you look at it and you go, Teflon is actually used for corrosion situations. And we had this like rusty building in the background. It's kind of like, does that building need a coat of Teflon on it? You know, fix that thing up a little bit or what? But, you know, so like that's all out. And as simple as like just changing it from bright to dark. I mean, at least when you go out to a place now, you're kind of like, okay, you know, it's just more appealing to the eye. Than we had
when
before,
we launched, oh my gosh, when we launched the last website with the dark background, and we had moved from a white background to a dark background because it was, you know, I think it was the whole idea was like sleeker and sexier. I wasn't working on the website at that time. It was more modern looking to have these big wide strips and everything. And the number of calls we got about, I can't see anything.
Right. I can't find the search option. Where's the search option on this website? And we go and we're like, where is it?
I'm just going to rest easier knowing that something that's referred to as the rusty building is gone. I think I played a gig at the rusty building years ago. There's chicken wire and all sorts of stuff. You know, it's pretty cool though to hear this from both of you, because I think it's a fine line you have to walk, and this speaks well to your oversight of from a website to be comprehensive yet not overwhelming. And that I think that's a big deal, particularly right now. It's a tall order to get that refined. So as far as, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just saying that, you know, we preach to our customers about how they are specialists, or they should be marketing themselves as specialists. And so it's always helpful to have somebody from the outside come in and say, well, actually, you're trying to do too many things here. Here's how. And so, you know, our website became more specialized in this reiteration, and that, you know, do fewer things better is always a good mantra to live by when you're talking about how to market yourself.
Yeah. And it seems like this was a project that involved some heavy lifting, and we're certainly proud of it. And there was a lot of work put in. I know Mike and I know Marissa did a lot of work and a lot of the heavy lifting. So it was well done. Well done. Yeah, it's something to be proud of. As far as a heavy lift is concerned, I wanted to go here with Wolf. I want to talk to you both about the Intech app, if we can. And I always think app development, even though some younger folk might think, well, that's easy, just make an app. Not for this field in particular. Well, I want you to tell me a little bit, how long was this in development and how was it presented to you? Because this seems like a project that, well, use the word overwhelming again.
Right. Well, yeah, so I just celebrated my 12th year at Intech, believe it or not.
Congrats, bud.
12 years. You know, when I first started, you know, Mike had started asking about like, is there a decision tree that we could develop where if somebody was asking you specific questions, you know, it would be like a matrix, and you could, you know, well, I need, you know, high corrosion resistance and temperature is this, and it would actually lead you to a coding. And, you know, I sat there. So it took until like probably, you know, last year when Mike was comfortable with my knowledge. I'm just kidding. No, this is early. Like, so it was a couple months in. Mike's like, you're getting the hang of it. Build this decision tree out. And, you know, I was at like, you know, row XX, you know, on the spreadsheet. And I go, Mike, this is like impossible. And he goes, well, it kind of lends into his philosophy. Like, there's not always one specific answer, you know, for a coding situation, because everything is unique. So, you know, so out goes the Excel spreadsheet. You know, I spent quite a bit of time just trying to, and it does help your background knowledge, because there are so many questions that we could ask and to try to nail things down. And, you know, I'm trying to think when this happened, but it was probably like 5 years ago. You know, apps start really becoming the rage. Everything's got to go on an app. And Mike goes, we should have an Intech app. And I was, you know, just messing around on my phone for a second, and I brought up my Intech app.
There it is.
It's on my phone. And basically he was like, you know, we could build what you were trying to do in Excel into this app, where if people had this app in their hands and I'm like, you know, sitting in front of a customer, or somebody's calling in and they're asking me, hey, what recommendation would you make for this type of application? You have this at your hands where you can do that. Now, it won't give you one option. It'll give you, a variety of options. But like one of the big things about, Teflon and a big eliminator when you're doing this decision is you have op temp and you have FDA or not. And Teflon, when I'm trying to make a recommendation, it's a process of elimination. I'm trying to eliminate coatings that aren't options and get to the ones that these guys can do.
Right.
So like on this app, you have that option where you could, land on a coating. You have the calculator on there, which saves my ass on a weekly basis because we used to do it all by hand. I mean, we used to go, I got to pull all the.
Do you have your abacus?
I still use that.
Nice.
But anyway, you had to go to the TDS. You had to grab the theoretical coverage. You had to do all that. And then you had to, add in the transfer efficiency and dry film thickness and square footage. You can do all of that in here. So the cool thing is that calculator's right there. And I did have a guy say, like, I'm not sure I really want to use that application because it's an Intech app. And he felt like there was a bias. Like, so we would overblow the amount of coding that you need. So you'd have to buy more from us. And I go, it's not like that, man. I'm like, this is basically the information that Kumors has given us that's input in there. Yeah. That doesn't change. Yeah. The codings are pretty standard. Nothing really changes. So, you're going to be able to come up with a solid answer. And the nice thing is, you can go into it, Nick, and you can say, hey, like instead of 1 mil, I want to do 2 mils. I mean, imagine going through the math again. Or, hey, I want to change my transfer efficiency from 65% and maybe I only get 50. All you do is just change the number in the app and hit calculate and it gives it to you. It's phenomenal. There's a news feed on there, gives you recent news or, information pieces that we put up. So honestly, if you're not using the app, you're crazy. I'm all about convenience. And I think a lot of people are about convenience in this world, how we're moving around and doing stuff and needing access to information quickly. How are you not using the Intech app?
That's a great point. That's a great point, Wolfie. The fact that we all have our phones with us 24/7. We don't necessarily want to, pull up a website or be doing scratch pad math to try and quote somebody or figure out if a job is worth something or if we can do it. All of that is just, it's right with the thing that you always have with you anyway. And so convenience and that immediate kind of answer, that's a big part of the value that the app brings. And we want to make sure that people are able to use it and really live that value. And if there's more that can be done, awesome. We're always trying to improve. So that's great. It's
free. You don't have to pay for it.
No tricks.
Intech is supporting that. And the other nice component too, when you're using that calculator is, let's say Francesca asked me, like, I'm really thinking this is going to be a 532 G5010 job. So I would do all that math and I'd deliver it to her. And she would say, like, well, what if I went with just 420 G109? You'd have to restart everything. I can just change the coding and I can just be like, okay, we'll do 420 G109 and same, information might be a little bit different, but it's that easy. It's crazy. And it is a differentiator. And that's, one of the things that we try to talk about. Francesca was just talking about the website. There's always things to work on around here. We're a small company. There's not a lot of us, but, we put out this website that supports the business. We have the app, things need to be tweaked. And, this time, this year it became the website year. Like, hey, it's time to look at the website. Next year might be something else, but that's the beauty of what we do. And, Mike's philosophy is, he wants to be at the leading edge of what distributors offer out there. And, we feel like we have that advantage for sure.
I was going to say, this just crow a little bit, guys. Like, does anyone else have this?
Oh, I think I fanned my wings out a little bit. So I think enough is enough. But no, it's very true.
It's unique.
And that comes out as an account rep and you're supporting the business. you feel pretty good about the tools that you have to offer people. You know, it should breed some confidence when you're talking to people on the phone and trying to build that relationship where it's like, hey man, I like Intech. You know, it's in the Chemours product line. Chemours makes a solid product, and Intech is a solid servicing and support mechanism for the Teflon line. It's awesome.
It is. And no one else, no one else has this. And as far as things that we offer that no one else does, I was wondering if I could bring up the elephant in the room with you two. Francesca.
Yes.
What's going on with i3? Why did you stop it? Are you going to do it again? Do you want me to list all the questions we get, or is that enough?
I'm familiar with the general tenor of the questions, which I love. We have not canceled i3 in any permanent sense. Obviously, had a little bit of a pandemic in this country.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So 2020, obviously, we couldn't hold i3 for the most obvious reasons. It wasn't safe. There just wasn't any reason or need that really overpowered the safety that we needed for holding it. And so there was no chance that we were going to do an in-person i3 in 2020. 2021, we're almost at the end of this. Obviously, we're not doing an i3 this year. The reason for that is we were just getting into vaccine rollouts. I mean, the amount of time we need to prepare for i3 is not insignificant. I'll put it that way. And so it's not a decision we can make and be like, oh, look, everybody's pretty vaccinated. It looks pretty good. Why don't we do i3 in a month? That doesn't happen. That's not how that works. But that means that we're having conversations now about i3 in 2022. Okay. And you're going to be getting some questions about what your interest is in attending i3, how you feel as our customers to coming to some place, gathering in a room together and having the i3 experience. And a big part of the i3 experience is more than just us standing in front of a room and teaching. It's much more about connecting, networking together. We, have something the very first night, we have a big dinner the second night, we all get together and socialize. And so we don't want to lose that because that's a big part of the value of i3. And you don't get that when it's virtual. It just does not work on the virtual scale because Wolfie can tell you because Wolfie usually owns the part that definitely does not work across Zoom.
It sounds pretty immersive, and I was going to say to Wolf, can't you just Zoom me i3? Talking about the limitations of Zoom.
Well, I mean, part of the Zoom thing is it's a little bit more impersonal. Like, I don't know if you know this, but I just made a transaction in my fantasy football league while we were sitting on here. I'm just kidding. But that's a distraction. That's a real distraction you have going on. And, it's very informative. And I was talking to a friend of mine who, has a nice position in a software company. And we were talking about like, are you guys going out to see people? And he's like, no. And he's like, we're really pushing the Zoom meeting. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, we really haven't done that yet, for sales. And he was telling me, you've got to take a 10-page presentation and knock it down to about 3 pages because that's the attention span that you have. And you got to find a way to condense your message and get it across that quickly.
Wow.
i3 is not that. i3, no. I mean, look at product review, Francesca. It's like 60 some pages of information. Yep. How do I cut that in half?
Right.
I don't, you can't do it and it's not effective. We also basically remove any of the questions that really come in during when we're presenting that information. We're not with the customer. So
there's no fun. There's no Family Feud moment. There's no, there's no real connection in that Zoom format. And that's what we're looking for just as much as the education and training piece. So that's not worthwhile. We don't want to put out a half done, half baked, halfway i3. We're going to do i3 right. or we're not going to do I3. And listen, nobody is itching to get back to I3 more than we are. We love hosting it. We love seeing everybody there. We love meeting new people. We love the returning customers, all of that. And so it would just be a disservice, and it would be wrong to try and wing it or do it in some fashion that's not suited for it.
Yeah, for sure. And like, the one thing that we did have as an option, which Francesca's mentioned, would be like an on-site where we would come to you.
Oh, I didn't mention that. Yeah.
So, that's something that we are open to. But the Zoom, the virtual, Mike and I talked about it, and he's like, that's not how I want I3 presented. And we were talking a little earlier about, there's a lot of work that goes into putting together I3, and it's like the Intech baby. It's like a 9-month process where, wow. I mean, we all meet together. I mean, everybody has a hand in this. Like, where do we want to have it? We have a discussion. I mean, Mike has said, like, give me your top 5 destinations for the next I3, and we'll, everybody will, give your top 5, and then we've got to go through the presentations, and we'll scope out the site, scope out the venue, go through the presentations, update them, who's doing what kind of changes do we want to make, and then we get there, or we do spend some time doing phone campaigns. Touching some, the customer base about, do you have any new guys that want to be there, that need the education? Do you want to come back and get a refresher? And the last one, was a big one. We were at, in Vegas, and that's not off the table. And quite frankly, Francesca, I thought I3 in Vegas actually went well. We were terrified that people were going to come for the wrong reason. And there was we have 25 attendees, and you walk into the room the next morning and there's like 10. There's 3 guys, and you're like, okay.
Well, there's something about Vegas that's distracting, I take it? No, I'm kidding.
Is there a clock out there? I mean, seriously.
No, that's why they do the ceilings the way they do. As far as that's concerned, though, let me make sure I get this out. I want to make sure I reiterate that. Get in touch with us. We'll come to you. We'll bring the kind of I3 experience to you. Please contact us here at Intech. But as far as that's concerned, let me ask you this, Wolf, before when should people begin planning for something like I3 if they're going to attend? And then tell me a little bit about who does attend this,
Yeah. We get a great mixture of people that attend. We have people that are interested in getting into Teflon. We have people that are engineers or specifiers that maybe manage a piece of, let's say, an aerospace business or an aerospace part that gets coded, and they want to know more about, what's out there. We then have, the old tried and true coders that have been around a long time that might have some new employees or new people in the sales process that they want to bring to this. So it is a great mixture of people. We do have people that come back multiple times because they want to reconnect with several things. One, what's Chemours up to? I want to see what Chemours sees in the future of Teflon. I want to meet with my Intech sales reps and the Intech family, so to speak. I want to know what new products might be out there. I want to know what new industries might be out there that I'm not seeing or that I haven't thought about. So there's that component. I think you had a couple other questions though, Nick. It was like a 2-pronger.
Yeah, it was. I threw it too. It was really focusing on the people that are going to attend this. I want to know what they're like. And then about how far in advance should they be looking to plan if they're going to attend this?
Yeah, based on where we're having it, some people are a drive. But if you're making flight plans, you probably want to get on top of that pretty early. You don't want to wait to book your flight and things like that and make accommodations. And we really, we book rooms in the hotel where we have it. Last thing you want to do is not be at the hotel where the event is, and you're having to drive in and drive out.
That's well said.
Not to mention, I mean, after a 2-year break from I3, what I'm hoping for is that when we do have it again, that there is so much, excitement around it that you want to buy your spot early so that you can guarantee it, because there's going to be a limit, into how many people the room can hold and all of those things. And so make sure that if you are interested, as soon as you do hear about it, you get on that ball and save your spot. So it helps us know that we've got you in the room and we can serve you.
But it is a fine mix, Nick, of education. We do pretty good job of delivering the information, but it's also the customer interaction is getting to see and know our customers and, where they're at either in their lives or in business. And, they get to talk to us too. And that's as important as anything.
Of course.
And we talk about everything from the codings and applications to marketing and selling. And so there's really a whole picture that we develop with i3 for everybody's business. And then from there, with those customer interactions, you can really get some one-on-one FaceTime with Mike, with Wolfie, with me, with anybody that is there, and get answers to what you need specifically for you and your business.
Yeah. And I've always been impressed hearing about i3, about how well you guys cover the waterfront, so to speak. Everything is covered, regardless of what background and business you're coming from. And there's something for everybody at this. So we're going to look forward to getting an update, and we're going to have our fingers crossed, and we're going to think positive, and we're going to look forward to the return of i3 after we'll call it a 2-year break. Yeah, we've been on a break.
Get your shot records updated. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Game of Thrones went on like a longer than 2-year break. So if you can wait for them and remember, then you can wait. And we'll make it worth the wait. That's the whole goal.
That's good to hear. Well, look, you guys have done a fantastic job of letting me and letting our listeners know what's going on. So thank you both. That was a pretty comprehensive run through what goes on in the month of November here at Intech Services. Outside of Intech Services, I got to tell you, the older I get, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday on the calendar for a number of reasons. I have a ton of little things that I like to do, and my little traditions. Is there something about Thanksgiving that you love, Francesca, or a particular tradition that you still hold up this month?
I think Thanksgiving, other than Christmas, or maybe even more so than Christmas, has the most traditions that I uphold. And I think the two that stand out the most are, I love to watch the Macy's Day Parade while eating my nice big breakfast to stretch out and get ready for the big dinner. And immediately after we put on the dog show. So get to see all the dogs for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And then
for sure.
And Thanksgiving, every night we put on the band's Last Waltz because
masterpiece.
It's a tradition. So, and it is a masterpiece of a tradition. Yes. So
Yes.
those are it's funny. They're all like watching. I mean, of course, there's the normal gathering with families and things, but those are like the almost time markers of the day, of like the beginning of the day, getting closer to getting ready for dinner, and then the after dinner relaxation. Those are the traditions.
Outstanding. Well, you covered the whole day too. Thank you. Wolf, what's your take on Thanksgiving? You have a tradition that you like to honor?
Well, in my opinion, my favorite holiday. One, because I like Thanksgiving food.
Okay.
There are people that don't like it. It's kind of weird. I've always liked it. But it's the 3 F's of Thanksgiving. It's football, food, and family. And that's kind of sort of where I've been with Thanksgiving. Plus, Thanksgiving is kind of condensed. There's a little lead up to Thanksgiving, but it's mainly just around the preparation of food and where you're going. And then, of course, how many football games can I watch in a certain time frame? Completely. Even though I like my kid, like I have a daughter in college now, although I see her on a pretty regular basis, but she's home, for the weekend. And, but anyway, it's just, it's also like the pending storm that's coming as well. Is not that I'm not into Christmas, because Christmas is awesome too. And we do a great job here at Intech with, the holidays and all that stuff, and a little bit of a break and all that. But I just like the compactness of Thanksgiving. And then, hey, you're off Friday, you got a weekend, and then you get back to work because the real work is about to hit you. And what we like to do a lot of times is, my wife's famous for this. My wife is not with me on the Thanksgiving holiday. Her holiday is Christmas. Anybody that knows me knows I have Christmas trees up usually probably 6 months out of the year. I'm not kidding you. They're all over the place.
Drive Francesca insane.
I deal with it. It's on the inside of the house, not on the outside. We do take the decorations down on the outside. But we usually will watch a Christmas movie that night.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good tradition. It's a good tradition. I've
What
always,
about you, Nick?
well, I always love that Thanksgiving. To me, it's there's no expectations. It's just relaxation. Do your own thing. So yeah, my favorite thing about Thanksgiving is of course, I love, 8 o'clock at night, turn on the last waltz. When I see that banner read, "This film should be played loud," I have a sigh of relief where I just say, here we are. I don't have to go in tomorrow. We're in a good place. And you know what I used to really like too is in Wilmington, for those of you who are listening who don't really know our little sleepy town where everyone knows everyone. I used to love going out to the pub the night before Thanksgiving because you would just see everybody, and it would just blow your mind how the entire city of Wilmington somehow comes back. Is all out that one night
and hangs out at the 5 bars in a 3-block radius. Yeah, absolutely.
I can tell you, Nick, that's a double-edged sword because when I used to go to college and I would go back to my hometown, which wasn't Wilmington. I have ruined some Thanksgiving days because I was not in the mood to eat any food. I was just trying to get through Thursday because Wednesday just
too hard.
Imbibed a little too much and saw my buddies again. Everybody went different places, but I really don't have that problem now. It's like I'm watching my kids like, what are they doing on Wednesday night?
Yeah.
Not learning from your mistakes. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I try, Francesca. I try.
How not to ruin a holiday. Well, look, I want to just say this and close with this. That brings us there. Thank everyone for joining us for this edition of Deliver More. We really, really appreciate it. We're getting comments on our YouTube channel now that we love. So thank you all so much. And I want to tease this, my friends. The December episode, when it's coming, I'm really looking forward to it because it is a special one-off here. It will be me joined by the amazing Tony Abato for what we're calling a fireside chat. So that's coming up in the month of December to kick that.
Think you might
off.
be filming right behind me?
I think I might be. I think I might be.
Foreshadowing. Okay.
No doubt. So look, Francesca, Wolf, thank you so much for being here today and for all your contributions. You guys were stellar.
My
Always
pleasure.
a pleasure.
Thanks so much, Nick.
All right. Well, look, thanks to our listeners. And please subscribe to the podcast. We love hearing from you. And you're going to hear from us next month from Delaware. Bye-bye, guys.
See ya.